Hey, how you doing? Look, this Sean going back. I was thinking about the way the state of Alaska, OCS, have been doing their dirty work in the state of Alaska. I've been in the state of Alaska for 13 years, originally from Louisiana. I love Alaska. Alaska is a beautiful place. Alaska is a beautiful place. It's a very beautiful place, but the reality is that it is a corrupt judicial system. Okay, that's this judge y'all may have seen on TV. He goes by the name of Michael Corey. Well, during the time that I have been incarcerated from April 2015 to April 2018, the time that I was incarcerated, he became my judge and was my judge for 2 years. He said something to me that really, really crushed me. He said, "You need to be quiet and stop speaking in my courtroom." And I was fighting for my life. I asked my attorney, I said, "So what are we going to do?" My attorney said nothing. Then this judge, he dragged me for 2 years. He dragged me through court. He kept on making it hard, put me in belly chains and handcuffs and shackles you know, and it was weighing me down. And before I went to trial, they changed the judge like simultaneously 2 weeks before trial. But this judge, Michael Corey, he dragged me through court. He shipped me from a place called Goose Creek Correctional Center back to Anchorage Jail, back to Goose Creek. That was my whole entire time. In time, I'll pull up the paperwork and see if I can work it out. I'm new to this YouTube thing, and just work with me, okay? So I filed a judicial complaint against this judge. After filing a judicial complaint against the judge, the judicial committee, her name's Suzanne Petito, but she said he was doing his job. Everything he was doing was ethical, and it was according to the way his job was supposed to perform. So after that, this was in 2016 when I filed this claim, and here it is now. It's January 2018. It's Martin Luther King birthday. 2019, Martin Luther King birthday. Okay, so sitting here and I'm thinking about it because this has been on my mind since I went to jail through the time I came out. Um, this Judge Michael Corey, him and the DA, District Attorney for the state of Alaska, Andrew Granick, they had a lot going on, a lot of out of court um, communication based upon some of the motions that was filed on my behalf by the council that was forced upon me because I did try to represent myself. They said, "Nah, we ain't gonna let you do that." Knowing if I'd have represent myself, I'd have went to trial and been home sooner than later. Um, I explained to the judge his when I first met him, I explained his the code of judicial conduct. I read it to him. And he said, "Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Smith. Thank you so much from you know giving me an update on the codes of judicial conduct." And so as he railroaded me, and I've been putting all type of motions in, I wrote letters, respectful letters, trying to get into trial. They said we have 120 days according to the state of Alaska Constitution, their rules, the court rules, and the United States of America Constitution said we have a reasonable time to be the trial. Okay. So here it is. They held out of court. They held out of court communication, which was wrong. And I filed a federal 1983 lawsuit against Judge Michael Corey, who was on the news in the state of Alaska for backlash. They backlashed him um, for a guy named Justin Schreider. They let him go after he sexually assaulted a Native woman, and he said he was doing it for his sexual pleasure. The judge gave him 2 years, 1 year suspended, and the judge decided to give him a key to the front door, not a smack on the wrist, a key to the front door. One year probation, and he didn't have to register as a sex offender. After sexually assaulting someone, he don't have to register as a sex offender. I said, whoa. I said, I filed a federal 1983 on this judge in 2016. And here it is, 2018. They saying that this judge, he condoned to white privilege. Yeah, he did. But therefore, if he condoned to white privilege, did he racially profile me by pushing me through court while being incarcerated for 2 years? When I had 120 days to go to trial, they call it the Speedy Trial Time Act. So, with that being said, I have I've struggled and I strive with my case. Unfortunately, I had a jury of 9 white women, 2 white men, and an old African American guy. There wasn't a jury of my peers, but they listened to the testimony, they listened to the evidence, they watched the evidence, and they had made the right decision. Okay, my mother always told me that the truth will set you free. So I went and I took the stand and I told the truth. Now, yeah, I'm free. Okay, I went to trial with another judge other than Michael Corey. The detective in the case, Brad Sauber. I'm, it's tripping me out because the detective Brad Sauber, Andrew Grenick, the DA, and Michael Corey, they were all involved in my proceeding. But after I have made it to trial, after 3 years and so many months, I've made it to trial. And I've been found not guilty, which has exonerated me of all charges that could have given me 60 years in prison for a crime I did not commit. And when I got exonerated, not by Judge Corey, by another judge, when I've gotten exonerated, the judge said, Mr. Smith, you're free to go. Free to go. He said, yeah, you can leave. You can leave today. You can leave. I said, okay. I like to go to the, say my goodbyes and get the only stuff that I have. Have not I told you that I still owe for a truck that was financed through a company? So I had to pay for the truck. I had to finish paying for the truck. I paid 5,000. I owe 5,000. I lost the place that I called my dwelling. I lost my castle, 4 bedroom house. I could get that back. Right now, I'm in a place of my own with my 3 children, my 2 sons, and my daughter. I'm still fighting against OCS. to keep my parental rights of the children that I have and to gain custody of my son Dominic, whom I just won the Supreme Court case. They reversed the verdict of the Superior Court of terminate my parental rights for my son Dominic, and they remanded back into the Superior Court so that the Office of Children's Service, DHSS, OCS, in the state of Alaska, they could fix their errors. Now, I have two sons that went into the state custody. One of my sons, 10 years old, and it breaks my heart that he can hardly read. My son that's 9 years old, he can barely read. They're reading on kindergarten and second grade levels. When I got incarcerated, when I was kidnapped, put in jail against my will for those 3 years and so many months, the Office of Children's Service had took custody of my oldest son. He's grown now, but he was a child then. They took custody of my oldest son, my two younger sons, and my baby girl. She was 1 year old. Now she's 5. My sons they're 9 and 10, and they never enforce education. They never enforce, my children to get educated. They enforce my children to go to school, but they never enforce my children to become educated. My children have IEPs and they're in DFS program, and my children is not benefiting from these programs. What's benefiting my children is us being together, and we're learning from each other day by day. We have our up and down times. Son, why would you do that? You think that's a good idea? Why do you think that's a good idea? Or why don't you think it's a good idea? Well, look, you can't do that, but this is what we can do. Um, OCS, they never enforced my children to keep our culture. I don't eat pork. I've ate pork before. It tasted real good, but it's not good for my body and my mind. It's up to you what you eat in your family. But they have taken my children's culture and allowed my children to eat pork. They didn't even ask what my children was eating. My children went to the dentist one time in 4 years because, like I said, I got out April 2018. But within 4 years, my children went to the dentist one time. And when I seen their teeth, I cried. And I said, what happened to y'all teeth? They said, I don't know. I said, how often do you brush? They said, we brush sometimes. I said, sometimes it's not good enough. You had to brush all the time. I said, look, son, I said, your teeth is yellower than mine. So, I had to get a dental kit. I got a dental kit. I'm not a dentist, but they sell it over the counter. You go buy it at Walmart, Fred Meyer's, or whatever. But I got a dental kit. And then I took him with the scraping the sugar off my children's teeth. I did one tooth at a time carefully. I didn't scrub it in. I just scraped it, chiseled it. And then I brush it with the brush. And I let them look at that one tooth and see how that looked. Said, wow, Daddy, I never seen my teeth so bright. Said, I'm gonna finish the rest of it. And scraped around the front. I'm not a dentist, so I didn't go into the mouth. I just scraped around the front. And then I took my children to the dentist. So DHSS, OCS, Office of Children's Services in the state of Alaska, they have failed my children tremendously. They're not in the best interest of the children. If they were in the best interest of my children, they would assure that my children kept our culture. I am, I am just me. And I want my kids to be who they are. I do believe in the creator that you call God. But my belief is different from yours, so therefore our culture is different. Our lifestyle is different. If it was the same, then everybody everybody would have an understanding of how each other live in the same culture. But unfortunately, our culture is not the same, and um, OCS they never enforced. I asked OCS to allow my children to live with my sister who would work for OCS for over 6 years, and OCS said no. I thought my kids supposed to go to the next of kin. May my children's mother rest in peace and rebirth into the hereafter. But my next of kin was my sister. That was my next of kin that I said I wanted my children to be with. And they told me no. I had a 4 bedroom house that my sister moved into to try to maintain it the best she can so that I can I can get my children when I get out of jail. I just had to get the trial to prove my innocence. I've been on for 17 minutes and 36 seconds. And I'm just speaking what's on my mind. So, with that being said, now I'm starting all over with my children, and I have to re educate them from where we left off. Literally, where we left off. And it breaks my heart for me to sit here and to watch my children suffer and do my best to help them as a single father. And this is breaking my heart. And here it is. After I got exonerated and the judge told me I was free to go. I went in, sat down. I went to sleep when I got back to, because court was long when you're sitting up in the dungeons waiting to go up the stairs and around the corner, and it's stressful going to trial, going through with trial, especially knowing your innocence and your life is slipping away. Your life is in strange people you don't even know is in their hands. But the Creator was with me. The Creator's in me and a part of me, as I'm a part of it. I'm not gonna say he or she because the Creator, it can be neither. So anyway, when they called my name, Dean Smith, roll up. I rolled up, went downstairs, signed the paperwork, and walked out the front door of the jail. And I looked around, and I thought about the judge. Said, Mr. Smith, you're free to go. And I'm thinking, go where? Where can I go? I lost my house. So where am I free to go? And I went to see my child, my daughter, my youngest daughter. She's 5. I went to see her. I spent time with her. I hugged her. I loved her. I spent, a few days with her, like 3 days. My grandparents, 2, 3 days over there. And then after that, I went moved in with an ex-girlfriend. I lived with her for 7 months. Finally able to get on my feet and get my children a home. I did so. So me and my children were reunited, but I still have my youngest son that I have to get custody of. I never had him physically in my custody, but I have to get him home. I'm real tired. I still got my daughter. She's still woke, and I have to go check on her to make sure she's okay. I can hear her talking, and that's being a parent. I don't sleep until I know that she sleep. I've been up all day cleaning, cooking, single dad, and I applaud all the single fathers out here that love their children enough to provide for their children. I applaud you. I applaud all the sisters out here that's single taking care of their children. I do. And I talk to y'all again. I love y'all. Peace and blessings.